Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Weather Sim forecast. And in today's forecast, we're going to be talking about the tropics, which are looking very concerning, as not only do we have Hurricane Humberto that has currently developed into a Category 1 hurricane and is currently forecasted to rapidly intensify to either a Category 4 or even a Category 5 hurricane over the next few days. And then we also got this other area of development over here just off the southeast coast of the Carolinas. And the reason why I'm saying that is because this tropical low is going to make it all the way up there, and this is likely when it will be the strongest. So that will be something to really watch for, as it does look like that's going to be one of our biggest things to watch for from now on, or at least until it diminishes. So we will need to watch that very closely over the next few days. And let's start off by talking about Hurricane Humberto, which has currently once again developed into a hurricane. And the latest forecast is saying that it will rapidly intensify all the way up to a Category 4 hurricane, which will be something to watch very, very closely, since this could be pretty similar to what Aaron did. And if you guys remember what Aaron did, it actually brought some huge waves to the Carolina coast. But this time, I think Humberto is probably going to bring some big waves all the way over there to Florida, given the fact that it's going to be the strongest by the time it lines up with Florida, even though it will still be pretty far offshore. But some rip currents and even some waves will definitely be possible. And then, like I said, we will also be watching this other one, as it will likely impact the southeast coast as well. So we will need to watch it very closely, as this one, like I said, will bring some waves to the southeast coast, and this one will bring direct impacts, and we will just go ahead and start talking about that. Let's first start off by talking about the low pressure system, once again, that's currently down there in the Dominican Republic. And like I said, that's going to work its way all the way up to the southeast Carolina coast, as it does look like this thing could potentially make direct impacts to areas of the southeast. So this will be something to watch very, very closely, given the fact that more of these models are showing that it will impact areas like South Carolina than they do show it impacting areas like the Atlantic Ocean. So we will need to watch it very closely. And the other thing too is that it does look like this system will more than likely develop into a tropical storm. Now the question remains, will this thing meet hurricane status? That does remain a little bit uncertain still, but I would not be surprised at all if the system did rapidly intensify to maybe even a Category 2 hurricane, because you guys can see that it's going to kind of take a path like this. And the warmest waters are currently right here. You guys can see how it's going to be going right through the warmest waters, which is exactly why I think the system could potentially even rapidly intensify even more than what's currently in the forecast. So I would not be surprised at all if this became a Category 1 or even a Category 2 hurricane, which would be very alarming, especially for you guys off of the coastal areas of the Carolinas. And then with Humberto, like I said, it does look to stay offshore, but it is going to be strong enough to where I would not be surprised at all if Humberto also brought impacts to areas of the southeast. Maybe not as bad as what Aaron brought, but like I said, it is still going to be enough to where some huge waves and even some storm surge cannot be rolled out. So that's one of the reasons why we're going to watch it very closely. And the other reason why this is concerning is because both of them look like they're going to make landfall at almost the same time, because when we look at the European model, you guys can see that both of them are going to be lining up with the Carolina coast. And that's why not only will we be seeing storm surge from this next system to form, but look at this, we will also be seeing some huge waves from Humberto as well. And whenever these two systems bring waves at the same time, that could potentially bring double storm surge. And I like to call it that, like I said, because both of these systems are looking to bring storm surge at the same time. Of course, that could still shift around a little bit, especially if one of them changed speed. But like I said, that is not really looking like a great thing as of right now. And I know I might have kept saying landfall with Humberto, but like I said, I am really concerned about it making those big waves, and so that's exactly why I am getting very concerned about Humberto, like I said, since it is looking to cause some pretty big impacts. And then the other thing I want to look at is going to be the rainfall. You guys can see with the rainfall totals, it does show that we could potentially see maybe even more than a foot of rainfall off of the Carolinas. Look at this. We're talking maybe even more than what's in the forecasts. And if we take a zoom in view, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and take a quick zoom in view to that. You guys can see that the South Carolina coast could potentially see anywhere from 10 to even as much as 15 inches of rainfall right off the edge of the Carolina coast once again. And same goes for areas in South Carolina, maybe even a swath there of 6 to 12 inches there in Georgia. But either way, this is going to be something to watch for, as it will even bring some beneficial rainfall totals to areas all the way up there in New England. So make sure you guys are really preparing for this, as it does look like this is going to be one of the more concerning systems overall, and that's why we really want you guys to be prepared. And then the last thing I want to go over, I know this wasn't really something that we were going to talk about in the video, but I just wanted to point out that, just in case you guys are wondering why we only been talking about the tropics, is because look at this, we're not really looking at severe weather over the next few days, maybe a severe storm or two down there in Arizona, but other than that, just smack dab quiet, not really looking like anything too concerning over the next few days. So that's probably, why most people, like I said, have been talking about the tropics. So the overall thing to keep in mind, like I said, is that our main focus right now is going to be the tropics, as both of these hurricanes looks to be more in the way of concern. So that's why we want you guys to, at least be ready for it, and also be ready for potentially direct impacts caused by this other system. So make sure you guys keep that in mind, and I hope you guys are also making hurricane preparations and stuff like that, because it's really going to be, once again, concerning to say the least. And that's also because this is our first landfalling hurricane system of the season so far, or at least the first one to make direct impacts to the United States. And that's another reason why we want you guys to be ready for it, as it may feel different than what you're used to. So make sure you get ready for that, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday out there, and I hope you guys stay safe this weekend, as it looks like this system, both Humberto and as well as this low pressure system, will make landfall sometime between this weekend and early next week. So make sure you guys are ready for that, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend out there, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.